Okay, so this video is to help you with today's FRQ practice. So I expect that you probably will get some sort of combination question where maybe you have to utilize a table with a graph, similar to one of the very first FRQs that we did. So this one is specifically, though, tables only. So you're given two different functions that you're working with. So you have f of x and its derivatives, and then you have g of x and its derivatives out to the second derivative. And so they are giving you, so when they tell you it's twice differentiable, that means you can take the derivative. First derivative exists, second derivative also exists. Okay, so for part A, they're asking you for p of x equaling to f of x times g of x, and they want you to find the derivative of p. So what you're looking at here is just product rule. So this is a product of two things, the cute little p of x for product rule. So just a reminder, let me spell that correctly. So you're just doing 1d2 and then plus 2d1, right? So that's your basic product rule. So a common mistake here is oftentimes students will evaluate first, so they would substitute in 2 first and then try to do something here. So you're just using the product rule in its abstract form and then evaluating each term with x equaling 2. So for example, your p of x would be 1, so 1 would be your f of x. And then d2, the derivative of g of x, which would be g prime. And then plus 2d1, so 2 meaning g of x. And then the derivative of f of x, which is f prime of x. And then in order for you to find p prime of 2, that should have a prime on there, you would just swap out each of these x values that you're given using the table above. So you would take this x here, replace it with 2, and then you would look at, okay, what is the value of f of 2? And then that would be -3, okay? And then g prime of 2, so again, you're looking in just this column right here, right? Because this is where x is equal to 2. So then g prime of 2 would be 0, and then so on and so forth. Okay, and then one more reminder here, so tangent line, let's talk about that. So we've done quite a few tangent line ones, but just to make sure we know that, you would have y minus y1, and then equal to your slope, and then x minus x1. So you would be getting your ordered pairs, off of your table as well. And so you already know, so you know that x1 is equal to 2. Let me move that up here. And so then really you just need to find that y value. And you're going to be using the same idea right here. So f of x times g of x. So your y will be f of 2 times g of 2. And then again, refer to the table to figure out, well, what is f of 2? What is g of 2? Okay. All right, so b is going to be similar, right? But you're going to be using quotient rule. So you're going to take a look at your equation here. So q of x is f of x divided by g of x. So you would just do quotient rule from there. Low d high minus high d low all over the square of what's below. So again, do it in its kind of abstract form, similar to what we did up here, right? So we did product rule. So you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to do quotient rule. So you would have something like q of x, so low, and then d high minus high d low, so on, all over the square of what's below, okay? All right, so now this time you're asking for normal line. So I think we had 2 problems over the course of the year over what a normal line was. So this one in particular is really good for us to review, like what is a normal line. So a normal line is just perpendicular to the tangent, right? So perpendicular to your tangent line. So we're doing it at x equals 2. So you would have y minus y1, and then your perpendicular slope. So that is opposite reciprocal, okay? So your perpendicular slope. So I'm going to do m with little upside down t, which you remember is your symbol for perpendicular, and then x minus x1. So you already know x1 is equal to 2. So you would have to go through and find y1 using your original equation, right? So that would be your q of 2 would be f of 2 divided by g of 2. And then for your slope, your perpendicular slope, this guy right here, you would just like whatever your original slope was. So let's say your original slope was 2. Your perpendicular slope would be opposite, so negative, and then reciprocal 1/2. Okay, and so that's what you're going to have to do. So you'll use like whatever you found for your slope. I forgot my prime here. Evaluated at 1, you would do it again, but evaluate it at 2 and then figure out whatever that number is. Okay? All right, and for part C, this one is chain rule. So I have an inside function here, so I know I have to do chain rule. So let's review what chain rule is. So for chain rule, so for C prime, you take the derivative of the outside function, so that would be f, and then you leave the inside of function alone, so that would be g of x. And then multiply by the derivative of what's inside, so then you would multiply by g prime. And then to evaluate this, so you would be looking for c prime of 0. So you would have f prime of g of 0, yeah? And then times g prime of 0. And then again, use your table to try to work through that. Okay, and then one last reminder here, second degree Taylor polynomial. So just to build every polynomial, which is the, kind of the stopping point of our chapter 8 for the AP test, is you're just using the rule that we have. So f to the nth derivative evaluated at your center C, and then times x minus c, which is your center, to the power of n, all over n factorial. And then you do that term by term to work through it. Okay, so this is kind of a short one, but just some reminders before you get started there.